Eye on the Tigers News. I'm Kennedy Lamb.
And I'm Patrick Howell. Thanks for joining us for the news we've been following for you. As he planted a backpack containing a bomb near a group of children, Boston Marathon bomber Djonar Tsarnaev made a cold-blooded decision aimed at punishing America for its wars in Muslim countries, a federal prosecutor told the jury during closing arguments Monday at Tsarnaev's death penalty trial. Defense attorney Judy Clark countered by arguing, as she did at the trial's outset, that Tsarnaev took part in the attack, but did so under the malevolent influence of his now-dead older brother, Tamerlan. Clark repeatedly referred to Djonar Tsarnaev, then 19, as a kid and teenager. The jury is expected to begin deliberating Tuesday morning in the case against Tsarnaev, 21, almost 2 years after the twin bombings near the finish line of the Boston Marathon, killing 3 people and wounded more than 260.
In deliberations tomorrow morning, the courtroom today absolutely packed with survivors, family members of victims, some of them becoming tearful as they listen to the closing arguments from both sides. The prosecution reconjuring some of the most graphic and images and details that we've heard over the course of this trial before asking the jury to return a verdict of guilty on all 30 charges.
Djonar Tsarnaev, minutes before the marathon blasts, entirely untroubled by what he is about to do, convinced, prosecutors say, by the terrorist literature and songs he had been listening to and reading for over a year. Living, quote, a double life to the outside world, he showed one face, inside he harbored another. He was careful, like Inspire magazine taught him to be. The motive, spelled out, they say, in Djohar's note written in the blood-stained, bullet-riddled boat where he's found hiding. We Muslims are one body. You hurt one, you hurt us all. Prosecutors repeatedly describe Djohar and his brother Tamerlan as partners in each of a series of crimes, both planning and together carrying out the marathon bombings, the murder of MIT officer Sean Collier, a carjacking, a robbery, a firefight with Watertown police, a pointed argument against the case the defense makes that Tamerlan led and Djohar followed. Images of Djohar outside the Forum restaurant shown again to jurors, the children lined up on the barricade, the government arguing he can't help but see them, and a haunting retelling of the painstaking details. 8-year-old Martin Richard, his entire body shattered, broken, eviscerated, burned. The blast injuries that killed Lingzi Liu, who didn't plan to be there that day. Crystal Campbell, dead from blood loss in less than 1 minute. Officer Sean Collier, shot between the eyes, twice more in the head. Djonar Tsarnaev, impassive in the courtroom, showing no emotion, while the government makes its final appeal to hold him accountable, soon asking jurors to consider the death penalty.
Senator Rand Paul, a Tea Party favorite and frequent antagonist of leaders of his Republican Party, is ready to test how much change voters want, both for their government and for the GOP. Paul is set to begin his White House campaign on Tuesday, kicking off the presidential run with a rally in downtown Louisville, then jetting to early nomination states with a pitch aimed at libertarian corners of the GOP. Paul begins the 2016 race as the second fully declared candidate behind Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, but he could face as many as 20 rivals for the nomination before the leadoff Iowa caucuses early next year.
President Barack Obama will ask Americans to think of climate change as a threat not just to the environment but also to their health. Obama on Tuesday was to announce a series of steps that private entities like Google and Microsoft are taking to better prepare the nation's health systems for the inevitable effects of a warmer, more erratic climate. He was to be joined at Howard University Medical School by Surgeon General Vivek Murthy and the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Gina McCarthy. Warning of the perils to the planet has gotten the president only so far. Polls consistently show the public is skeptical that the steps Obama has taken to curb pollution are worth the cost to the economy. So Obama is aiming to put a spotlight on ways that climate change will have real impacts on the body, like more asthma attacks, allergic reactions, and injuries from extreme weather.
The Pentagon says that climate change poses immediate risks to our national security. We should act like it. And that's why That's why over the past 6 years, we've done more than ever to combat climate change, from the way we produce energy to the way we use it.
New Jersey police say a teenager who had just received her learner's permit drove into an apartment building and struck 3 meters after hitting the accelerator instead of the brake. The 16-year-old was getting a driver's lesson from her father Thursday night in Woodbridge when the crash occurred. Authorities tell the Home News Tribune that she stepped on the wrong pedal and crashed into the wall of an apartment building. She also hit 3 gas meters, causing natural gas leaks and leading to the evacuation of 12 apartments.
A florist in Washington state fined $1,000 for refusing to sell a same-sex couple wedding flowers, and also facing a consumer protection lawsuit filed by the state, has netted more than $85,000 in crowdfunding campaign. The Seattle Times reported that nearly half of the money on the GoFundMe.com page, set up in late February for Baronelle Stutzman, 70, came in the last several days. Supporters compare Stutzman's benefit page to an Indiana pizza shop that raised more than $800,000 after closing, when a co-owner expressed support for the state's new religious objections law to protect private business owners. The co-owner said the shop wouldn't cater a gay wedding.
Just days after becoming the world's oldest documented person, 116-year-old Gertrude Weaver died Monday in Arkansas. Weaver became the oldest person in the world after the death of a 117-year-old Japanese woman last week, according to records kept by the Los Angeles-based Gerontology Research Group. Weaver was born in 1898. When asked for advice on how to live a long life, Weaver said, quote, "Use a lot of skin moisturizer, treat everyone nice, love your neighbor, and eat your own cooking. Don't eat at fast food places." The research group was able to verify Weaver's age using census records and a marriage certificate from 1915 that listed her as age 17.
It's actually feeling a little more like spring each and every day. Will it last? Let's bring in Aislinn with a forecast.
Before we left for spring break, it looked like we'd never get rid of the snowpack. But with longer days, a more southerly flow, and some sunshine, we're seeing most of the snow disappear. And as we move out to the end of the week, the last little bit may be left melting away. For today, we can expect a mix of sun and clouds with temperatures moving into the low 50s. We see some changes on Wednesday. Cool temperatures with rain developing in the afternoon will persist into Thursday. More than an inch of rain could fall over the 2 days. Some of that rain may continue into Friday, but the temperatures may climb into the low 60s. If we can get some of the sun out later in the day, those temperatures might get into the mid-60s. A longer look shows that the weekend looks bright with normal temperatures, and an even longer look has some data showing above normal temperatures beginning early next week. In fact, there is some data out today that indicates temperatures could be in the low 70s on Monday with bright sunshine. With the forecast, have a great day. I'm Aislinn Foltz.
A national champion was crowned last night, and another will be crowned tonight. With the details, here's Nathaniel Schrader.
Over a matter of mere minutes, the youngsters at Duke grew into old pros. Call them freshmen, but don't call them kids. Led by Tyus Jones and Giles Okafor, Duke's talented group of potential one-and-doneers played like veterans. Down the stretch, outscoring Wisconsin by 14 points over the final 13 minutes Monday night to grit out a 68-63 victory for the program's 5th national title. Okafor, the likely first pick to the NBA draft if he decides to leave, got outplayed by the Badgers' senior center Frank Kaminsky most of the night, but came through big when the pressure was at highest. The 6'11" freshman made 2 straight buckets over Kaminsky, sandwiched between a pair of 3-pointers from Jones to help the Blue Devils turn a one-time 9-point deficit into an 8-point lead with 1 minute 22 seconds left. A furious Wisconsin rally ensured, but it came up short. The women take the stage tonight when the undefeated Connecticut looks for its 3rd straight national championship against Notre Dame. Of course, UConn is led by North Syracuse product Brianna Stewart, who was named the National Player of the Year for the third straight year over the weekend. A sign of spring has to be the start of the Major League Baseball season. The season started with the Cardinals beating the Cubs on Sunday night, but a full slate of games were on tape for Monday. The Yankees lost to the Blue Jays 6-1, while the Mets battled the Nationals for a 3-1 win. Mexico's softball team traveled to Myrtle Beach to open its season last week. While the team struggled in its opening games, there is optimism surrounding the team. We will have a preview of this year's softball team from Sierra Petricola and Andrea Ross up on the district website and on our YouTube channel. With sports, I'm Nathaniel Schrader.
With a look at what's on the calendar for the week, here's Jacob Frazier.
The first week back in the calendar is busy. On Thursday, April 9th, renowned NASA astronaut Story Musgrave will speak of the importance of science, technology, and math. The presentation will begin at 6 o'clock at the Mexico Middle School Auditorium. The event will also be available live and then archived on our Ustream channel. Go to the district's website, click the story, and then click on the link. Tonight is Junior College Night from 6 to 8 p.m. Speakers from various colleges will be at Mexico High School to talk about getting into college, scholarships, and more. Sports physicals will be held here at the Mexico High School on May 5th and May 19th. You must see Miss Wallace for paperwork and to sign up. The physical will allow you to be eligible to play sports for the entire 2015-2016 school year. If any student is interested in taking the ASVAB this year, please let Student Services know this week so that they can schedule a test time for you. The ASVAB test is administered to potential military recruits to help determine which branch of service and which military jobs they will be best suited for. And finally, All County Chorus comes to the Mexico Middle School Auditorium on Friday and Saturday. That's what's on the calendar. I'm Jacob Frazier.
We welcome Svenja with our history lesson.
This day in history, in 1927, the image and voice of Herbert Hoover were transmitted live from Washington to New York in the first successful long-distance demonstration of television. In 1949, the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical South Pacific opened on Broadway. In 1969, the Supreme Court anonymously struck down the laws prohibiting private possession of obscene material. In 2001, NASA's Mars Odyssey spacecraft took off on a 6-month, 286 million mile journey to the Red Planet. And in 2003, U.S. troops in more than 100 U.S. armored vehicles rumbled through downtown Baghdad and seized one of Saddam Hussein's opulent palaces.
That's all for us today. For the staff of Eye on the Tigris News, thanks for joining us. I'm Kennedy Lamb.
And I'm Patrick Howell. Have another great day.